What's up, guys? We're back live with another A to Z. This is your boy Rodzilla and my good friend Oyanga Ali back in the building. First day of February, man. This
Oh
year's
yeah,
flying by.
it's
Jeez.
flying by. It's only the second month, man.
I mean, the first month flew by, man, which is crazy because we're gonna be talking about time anyway, man. Is it an illusion? Is it real? The theory
We'll
of
see.
retrocausation. So man, time flies. We both got the little gray hairs. I was looking
Yeah,
at a picture from 5 years ago. Just 5 years ago, it was all black. Now it's just like all gray.
yeah, man. But see, I don't think for me it didn't fly by. For me,
This year did. This year hasn't flown by.
not this month. There was a lot of stuff going on to where I had to pay attention to the details. So by me having to pay attention to details and waiting for certain things to pop up, it seemed a little bit longer. You know, it it,
Oh,
it,
okay.
it kind of dragged. So with what you're saying, that kind of puts us right into the video. Let's just go ahead and get cracking with this
All
bad boy.
right, man. All right, we have a scientist on. I'm gonna pull up. Let me pull up the screen here. Really smart scientist. He's a professor at I think it's University of San Diego, um, and he does a lot of talks on things like retrocausation, time, and the physics of how this all works. So it's really interesting. His name is Dr. Daniel Sheehan, PhD. Can you see the screen here?
Say that again.
Can you see the screen that I'm sharing right now on YouTube?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here, little quick bio on this guy, man. Um, he's an author and professor of physics at the University of San Diego, specialist in plasma physics and violation of the second law of thermodynamics and retrocausation. And I was just doing my own Google search on time because I was listening to a video about meditation and stuff like that, and they were mentioning how scientists are now proving that time might be an illusion and it doesn't really exist in a linear fashion we experience it. So he's going to be talking about this double slit experiment. We'll just let it run and then we can talk about it. So here we go.
Yeah.
Experiment, the delayed choice experiment, has been done, and that the results are as Wheeler predicted. And it's an interesting phenomenon. So let me try to set the stage for it. The double slit experiment is an experiment that tests the wave nature of light or particles, whatever it happens to be. And so you have some sort of partition here with two slits in it, just like two slits, two narrow slits. And then you have a gap in between, and then you have a screen where you get the image of the interference pattern from the two slits. So if you have two slits, it turns out that quantum mechanics is kind of like Yogi Berra, where Yogi Berra, asks the question, "How do we get to your house?" And he says, "Well, you come down this road, and when you come to the fork in the road, take it." And it sounds nonsensical, but that's what electrons and photons do. So if they come in to a double slit, they don't go through one or the other; they go through both because they can. A single photon will do that, so to speak. And when it comes out the other side, it will interfere with itself. And after many measurements, you'll get an interference pattern. If you have only one slit, then it'll act like a particle, and it'll act like just a buildup in one location, but no interference. Okay, so one slit, particle-like behavior. Two slits, wave-like behavior. So now here's where Wheeler comes in and says, okay, let's play a trick on this particle. Here's where the slits are. We're going to let it go through those two slits. And while it's traversing the distance between the slits and the wall, we're going to close one of the slits.
This is where it gets crazy.
We may or may not close it, but let's say we do close it. So what's going to happen? Well, you would think, well, the particle's already come through, it's interfering with itself along the way, and when it gets over here, you're going to get an interference pattern. But in fact, you don't. You can have this distance be as long as you want. You can be 20,000 light years, it doesn't matter. And at the last second, you close one of the slits. Well, what happens then is that this particle, when it gets to the wall, knows that you've closed this slit, even though the distance is too vast to get any kind of light signal that distance, and it'll act like a particle as a result. And this phenomena basically says what happens in the present can, in effect, rewrite its own history. So in that sense, it can be interpreted as a retrocausal process. And there are other ways of interpreting it that don't do that. but from just the pure particle point of view, it's as if history has been revised.
Boom. That's all we really need to know, man. So did
Oh,
that
wow.
make that experiment make sense?
No, I understood what he was talking about.
Okay.
So, but that's
And it's an
go
interesting
ahead.
experiment. I was going to say, in just in layman's terms, because I've heard oftentimes, like, even if you do certain things today, you can help rewrite the family's DNA. You can change your DNA back in time. And also, we know of people who can tap into this sphere and this information field is what we call it, or the Akashic records, they'll call it. This quantum space that he's talking about, where you can retrieve information from the future or retrieve information from the past and essentially bypass time in this linear fashion that we think about. And he goes a little bit further. Maybe I can find that spot about how everything is kind of happening now. A lot of people will say that in the spiritual realm, that everything is happening now, and being in the present allows you to really tap into the future and the past. And this right here kind of explains a little bit of how the mechanics of that work. So
yeah,
go for it.
I get that. And what it also is saying to me is that the way, an easier way to say it without all the scientific words is how people can destroy generational curses.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's like, so the things that one person is doing right now in their time can save the people in their future. But at the same time, it heals their past by destroying that generational curse from where they stand right then in that moment. So yeah, in that sense, it does have a time going back in the past and being able to affect the future and past at the same time when you think about it in that aspect.
Absolutely. And it definitely brings into question because, life can feel like, especially the way things get presented to us, that it's only linear, that it's only moving forward. And things like meditation can help you, break down the time walls in a sense. And, retrieve information from the past and the future. We don't even think about things like, oftentimes dreams. What they are is tapping into the quantum field. Because quantum in science is basically getting things down to the most basic level, the smallest level of anything, which makes it quantum. When you do that and reduce all the thoughts and all the things that come into your mind, you can really tap into this quantum field where everything is known right then in real time. It's kind of like tapping into the internet. That's a more natural version of it, or the Akashic records, which is basically where people who tend to be psychic and things like that are tapping into by getting on the right frequency and wavelength.
Did you say tend to be psychic or tend to be psychic?
Did I say what? Pretend? Oh, tend, not pretend,
okay,
not pretend.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely do have these abilities, and we all have it, right? We all have this ability. So this person says, so like when we are REM sleep. REM sleep is a phase of sleep. Where the dreams really occurs when you're in the deep sleep, which is a different phase of sleep than REM even. Because when you do go on natural sleep cycles, and when you go down from, kind of light sleep, you get into really deep sleep. And then when you come back up from the deep sleep, you're at REM, which is when you're starting to, where the eyes are moving really quickly. But it's not the same version as deep sleep. Those dreams occur. And yeah, you're right. But that is where the dreams occur. I'm sorry. In the REM sleep pattern is where the dreams occur. Deep sleep is not really in the dream state. But yeah, thanks for chiming in. Stars comment 6442. Ali, you said you had some information on how we can bend time.
Say that again.
You mentioned earlier before we jumped on, you had some information on how we could bend time.
Oh, well, it's pretty much what I said in the beginning. Is like, you know how you said this month is going by really, really fast, right? And then I said it didn't seem that way for me. So a way
Yeah.
to bend time, for everybody is to have a focus and intent on the things that we do. You know,
Okay.
are we going to use this guy, the YouTube dude?
No,
anymore?
no, I can take him off.
All right. So
Yeah, let me get him.
is to have intent on what we do and focus. So it's like that same idea. If we're gonna if we like wake up in the morning and we say, oh, it's 6 o'clock and we have to get I have to get this house clean. Oh my God, this house is so dirty and messy. Man, this is gonna take me until 4 o'clock to get it done, right?
Right.
And I come in here and I'm actually, busting my butt, and it will take till 4 o'clock, maybe a little bit sooner, but that's because my intent is not as strong as getting it done faster. But I could do, and everybody has done this, man. This shit's gonna take me all day, but I have to get this area clean, this house clean by, I still woke up at 6, I got to get it done by 8 o'clock, right? So the intent is there. Fuck, and you like trying to rush, or you trying to get it done, or you can stay focused and calm or whatever, but you can get that same mess done in that short period of time, right? And one of the things that people could do to bend time is have a fuller plate. Have a lot more stuff on your plate. When a person only has one thing to do, right? You only have one thing to do, and you think adding one more thing to your plate, you can't do it. You're like, fuck, I'm not going to have enough time to get this and that done today. But that's because the person doesn't have that practice, because they think they don't have enough time. They don't have the drive, the intent to get it done. But a person who is able to expand their plate by putting more things on it, practicing doing 8, 9, 10 different things, practice how to put stuff in proper order, and organizing their plate, can still get way more stuff done. Like how do you, when you're at work, how do you know stuff is going to get done? You give it to the busiest person. As a supervisor, you give it to somebody who has a lot of work to do, and they will get it done. You don't give work to a lazy person, because they're not going to get it done. Not just because they're lazy, but because they don't never feel they have time to get it done. So
you for sure.
Go ahead.
I feel that. You said a few things there. You said they feel like they don't have time, and I said earlier that time seemed like it flew by. Time is an experience, right? You can bend time also by being in flow state. If you get in flow state, you can experience time at a different pace than you can if you're not in flow state. You know how musicians or even athletes, when they get in the zone, they just feel like they'll say things like, "It felt like time slowed down."
Exactly.
Because time it's literally an experience, and it has an effect on you based on how you experience it.
Exactly. Even when Floyd Mayweather, he's a fast puncher. Mike Tyson is a fast puncher, right? When people got into the ring with them, even Sugar Ray Leonard, they got into the ring with them, they were saying, "Oh my gosh, these guys punch so fast." But there's a thing with honing the skills and everything like that. But they was seeing the people punching slow. They were seeing the other person in slow motion. So they were able to be so much in what they were doing, so focused into what they're doing, that they were able to move faster. They were able to move at a speed that was calm, relaxed, and focused. And they had the intent to not, sometimes they didn't win the fight, but they still had that intent. So they was able to see, able to dodge punches. Same thing with what about the people that be driving those cars, those really, race cars? They see things
for sure.
way slower than what we see them. You know,
No
because
doubt.
I freak out when I'm going 110 on the freeway sometimes. You know, like everything's
Yeah,
moving
no
so
doubt.
fast, but those people be going like 140 driving past
For sure.
people. You know, so that is still a way of bending time.
For sure.
It's how we
No
see
doubt.
it it's in the individual. It's in the individual, not necessarily across the whole time space. And at least at our level, at this
Look,
level of thinking.
yeah, for sure. I got this thing, man. I've been keeping these notes, and I think I like channeled this information on time, right? You know, we say that they say that we're in a more patriarchal society, and we know Father Time is also Saturn, right? And time is what governs this reality. So what came to me is that time is governed by Saturn, Father Time, and if we're in a masculine energy, that means it's a masculine. So we in this reality we tend to observe time as a masculine force because it's linear in nature, but hence the term masculine, right? We're governed by Father Time, which is also a masculine thing. But when you defy time, it's tapping into most of the time when you get into these states where you're doing more creative work and you can bypass this masculine and get into the feminine or the feminine aspect of time where you can bypass this linear version and overcoming that push you into this the feminine domain, the place where you're more receptive, which is also a feminine quality. So when you're more receptive and you're bypassing time, you're also able to receive more information and wisdom from the quantum field, which is what this guy is talking about as well. So in order to be your most creative or highest version of yourself, it's bypassing time is a huge part of overcoming this reality and the way things actually function and feel here by tapping into the feminine, which is not necessarily governed by time, but is more of a receptive state to be in. And that's why we do the action. So, like for example, if you're a basketball player, you go through the actions often, which are masculine in nature, because masculine is the active principle, whereas the feminine is the receptive. And you go through this active principle to be able to get to this energy, which allows you to bypass the masculine once you master something, and then you can be more creative in the flow. So it can be very like rudimentary to learn something at first, but once you get it, then it becomes a part of you and you embody it, and then you can bypass the masculine aspect and tap into the creative side. So now you're not just a basketball player going through skills, you are able to create them from that creative space. So being able to
Right.
tap into that is does that all make sense?
You know, at least I'm following you. I'm following you.
Yeah. So that's, I think, a relation between the feminine and masculine concepts of time, how time is linear as we observe it. But once you can do things like meditation, it allows you to overcome and you can escape time. And I think, didn't Christ even say that he came to take back, the keys of death? And when we think about death, it is a principle that's governed by time. But when you bypass time, you don't die, you're eternal. Again, showing that you can escape the effects of time by tapping into the higher states.
Yeah, I was seeing that.
Yeah.
That's a lot on your field when you're talking about the feminine and masculine and things like that, as far as the time. And when you said Star said, can you bend time by meditation or seeing
Absolutely,
things
you
as
can, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure you can. One of the things that causes us to experience is thoughts, right? Thoughts are more of a masculine concept, and we know that thoughts exist out here in the realm of the ether. Like sometimes you can be having a conversation with the ether is just this another place of saying the air, right? Thoughts from the
Yeah,
air.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So if you ever had this experience where you're with someone and you guys are having the same thought at the same time, or maybe
Yeah.
you have an idea about creating something, and then if you lag on it, then you see, dang, someone else already created that. That's because
Correct.
thoughts are out here in the ether. And when you meditate, which is or yoga, one of the highest concepts of yoga and meditation is to quiet the thoughts. In some Sanskrit verses, they would call it chitta, or chitta, which is also very similar to the word chatter. And when you can stop this chitta, a chatter in the mind, and quiet the mind down, now you can tap into this field where all the information really is. And that's why you hear, the psychics say they're channeling information. They're getting to this channel where all the information is, and then the meditation puts you in a receptive state to receive it. Just like when you're like, I like to use a basketball player analogy. Sometimes when you get into the zone, first you're kind of playing and you're going with time, and then they'll say time slows down, and it's because now they're in a creative state. It's almost like a meditative state, so they're more receptive. Now their body just does what it does. It's no longer thinking about the moves, it's just reacting. Because if you watch basketball, sometimes you'll see these players do moves that they haven't really practiced. It's just so in the state of it's just in the flow. It's in the moment. And again, being in the moment is another way of tapping into the field that is beyond time. It's just allowing information to come in, but it starts first with going through the rudimentary steps, and then eventually you can just kind of tap into this quantum field. So yeah, meditation can, and in fact, one of the reasons it exists is to bypass time.
So during that is still also part of creation, right? Is when you're doing the meditation and doing the time movement. And meditation, I'm just moving to meditation for a second,
Go for it.
but that's
Yeah.
still prayer, a sense of prayer, and asking for things, giving respect to life, giving respect to being gracious, is part of creating a time, not a time warp or something. I forgot the word right now. I forgot the word.
I mean, I would say, you think are you saying that prayer and meditation are similar?
Well, prayer and meditation, I believe, are exactly the same. I believe I could be. I guess prayer is a different type of meditation. It's still meditation. It's still meditation.
I would
right?
say if you're praying hard enough, you can enter a meditative state, or a state that induces a meditative state through prayer. But I wouldn't say they're the same. Like, if you think about what we're saying with meditation, and it's talking about quieting the thoughts and the mind to be receptive. And if you're talking, you're not in your most receptive state. If me and you having a conversation and I'm talking and you're trying to talk, but in order to be, the meditative state is about not doing that. It's shutting all of that off, shutting talk off, and just being really.
Well,
It's just
couldn't
being.
prayer be prayer is in silence too?
Give me an example of what you mean.
Oh, you're talking about, you're saying meditation means cutting your mind off, stopping the thought, stopping the chatter, right? That's what you're saying. It's just,
yeah.
But there's still stuff inside of meditation that you hear. It's not just a place where you're just only thing that's going on is it could be pictures that's in the meditation.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
You get messages from meditation. So what I'm saying is, in prayer, I'm not talking about the prayer that you see at church. That might be the thing.
Right,
I'm like, oh God, Jesus, Lord, oh, whatever stuff like that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you sit down and you're in your thoughts and you're contemplating, but you're not having all this extra. It's more focused. For me, prayer is like is more focused on a topic. You know what I mean? It's focused on what I want. You know, if I want to wish peace on everybody, you know, for that specific thing, if I want to induce healing, if I want to do something, that I'm focused on that. I'm not always speaking out. I'm trying to make it happen. I can see the picture, so I can see it manifest and believe. You know, I have the intent to what I'm praying for, whether it's whatever it is. It's a prayer to connect to the source. You know what I mean? Which is still what you're trying to do when you're meditating. You're trying to connect to the source. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt. I get you now. I thought you were talking about yeah, because when I was in church, everybody's running around, you know, praying, hollering. But yeah, you're talking about a different state where you're tapping into source. Yeah, I get that. And Dominic says, listening inward as opposed to externally, for sure. Are we life or in life? Are we life or in life? That's a great question. I think it's both. I mean, a lot of these things are, you know, paradoxes. I think we just live in a paradoxical universe. We are definitely in life and we are life. And we have life running through us. What do you think, Ali?
I'm actually not understanding, are we life or in life? Because I think it's the same. I think it's the same.
Yeah, I think
we're
it's both.
Experiencing it on both sides, like the past and the future. You know, and the present. We're experiencing it all at the same time. So we are life because we're living beings, but we're in life at the same. That's just how I see it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely both. We both.
Okay. What do you think there?
Yeah, Dominic says the breath of life. Yeah, for sure. Breath of life. That I mean, that's great, right? Because you talk about, you know, it always comes to me when we talk about breath of life, how, at least in the biblical terms, how God breathed into life, breathed life into Adam, and he had life. To me, you know, if you look at, you know, kind of a lot of Eastern philosophies, they talk about this life or this prana that's in the air. And it's not the same as, it's another type of air that's not just the regular air, it's prana, which is a little bit different. And this is what keeps things going. It's the consciousness that permeates everything. And that is what gives life, this consciousness. So in an essence, we are that consciousness. And that's the part that we can connect to when we can tap into source or connect to source. It flows through everything. It flows through us, and it is everything. So it's certainly a paradoxical thing. And it's we are in life. We are out life. We give life. We speak life. We breathe life, and it's all kind of a symbiotic relationship. It all kind of works together.
Yeah, we take life too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
This consciousness flow in it. Yeah.
You're a Marine, boy. You're a Marine, man. You know you take life.
Man, yeah, I'm a, what do we say? Once a Marine, always a Marine. You know, former,
you know,
Marine.
running around, stepping on ants, killing them.
Yeah, man. Man, it's all pretty fascinating, bro. Man, another part of that video, he was talking about the neurotransmitters and how memories themselves are not in the cells, like but they're in this state in between, kind of this in this gap phase. I have to find that part. I don't want to find it right now. Maybe we could talk about it next time. But in this gap in between is where everything flows. And if you think about that, like me and you, there's a space in between us, but that's where, you know, we're we're really at in the spaces in between the physicality, because everything that he said is physical is observable and measurable, but there's a space where things exist outside of that that can't be measured, and that's kind of the space that we're talking about, this quantum field, where the consciousness, where quote unquote God is, and we can connect to it. And it's kind of like like the internet, for example, on this computer, and we know that there's this field of information that's being retrieved, and this information is being retrieved from somewhere, and we download it onto the computer. Our bodies are much like that, like a receptor that's connected to something, which is this consciousness that we're talking about. And when we connect to that, we just can download more and more information, which is the way that, like psychic abilities and clairvoyance and clairaudience and all these things, that's how it all works in this unified field that can't really be measured. What's up, Michael Adam Ansons? Welcome to the show. We've been talking about time. Is it real? Is it an illusion? The theory of retrocausation. The scientists are now showing that, the past can be affected by the future. The future can be affected by the past. And that's why it's so important to stay in the now, because when you're really in the now, that's when you're in your full power. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to stay in the now, right? I mean, we got stress, anxiety. I was listening to a guy the other day about stress, how stress can sometimes be focused too much on the past. Like, I'm not, I did this, this talk, and I'm not good enough, and I can't speak on stage, or worried about things that may or may not happen in the future. And these stresses and anxiety in life can make it difficult to feel like you're in the moment. How do you stay in the moment, Ali? I mean, that's you look like you're
How do you stay in the moment? Is that what you said?
Yeah, man. Classic ages. Where does time and space exist, in or outside the three-dimensional parts?
Well, I figure, man, it's staying in the moment is really just disconnecting from all of this, all of the controls, disconnecting from your phone for a little while, reconnecting to life, as far as your family around, going out into the woods, going somewhere to where nature is. That's how you can, you gotta reconnect to life and disconnect from things like this just for a moment, so you can get your focus back. This right here takes a lot of our time away. No, seriously. You can learn more when you put that down for a moment. Every once in a while, it needs to be shut off so that we can reconnect with our own personal self, and without connecting to somebody else's thoughts, because everything that's here, when you're clicking through YouTube, when you're clicking through TikTok and all those other social media groups and watching other people's videos, those are other people's thoughts. We need to get back connected to our own thoughts, and that way we will have the focus. We will have the focus to be able to bend time, to be able to slow time down, to be able to speed time up. However it is, we have to refocus on ourselves, to the source. And we are the source,
Yeah, no doubt.
And everything that we're using that's part of technology is training us that the source is outside of us, that we need to depend on something else. The government says it wants us to depend on it. Even the people in prison, they have to depend on, and that's one key thing that you can understand where the prison mind comes in. Everybody in prison is dependent on a guard to open that door, dependent on a cook to feed them, dependent on somebody to open the store so that they can go get some food, dependent on somebody to keep them safe, dependent on somebody to give them money so that they can go, I'm not saying that we don't have to do that anyway, because we're all dependent on something. However, that depending on somebody actually controls our time too. because we're at their will when it comes to like I want to go do something right now, but I can't. You know, that's a tight construct. But if you can take that construct and put it someplace else in your life, you can see where your time is going, who's controlling the time. You know, I want money. I have to go work for this job 48 hours or 40 hours, depending on if I'm salary or not, or part-time, 30 hours, 20 hours, just so I can get a paycheck in 2 weeks. You know, so that is the thing that controls time, you know, and then with the bills that come in, it controls time because now I got to work 3 weeks just to pay this one bill off. So in order to beat all of that, we have to start connecting to ourselves and start seeing what is actually important so we can bend time. That's just one thing that we have to do in order to do that. It's not necessary. It's not necessary, but to have full control over it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, no, Dominic keeps throwing out a bunch of questions out here. Appreciate you, Dominic, for chiming. Dominic Terzigny 99. You know, our time versus energy. Are we the source? You know, other things are fun things. Are we the body and thoughts? I think our body is a physical representation of the thoughts and actions that we live out. You know, I've been a personal trainer for a while, right? 20 something years. And you can see like, let's say you can start to see people's body take shape based on the things that they do habitually. For example, if you're really a person who's on their phone, right? Let's say you're on your phone a lot and you start looking down like this, and we call this tech neck, which means their body is starting to represent what they do most often. You know, swimmers have a certain look to the body. You know, and you can kind of see this physical. We don't really give much thought to it, but our bodies are the culmination of the thoughts and actions that we take over time. And it starts to take on that shape. If you feel like, you know, if you're a person who, let's just say you love fast food and you got high cholesterol because of it, now your body's starting to take on what a person who's into that type of diet would be like. So,
right.
And that stems from the thoughts, and then we follow suit with the actions by driving up into McDonald's every day. And then your body starts to take on attributes of someone who does that. So our bodies are a physical representation of what our most, the thoughts that we embody most. You know what I mean? So it kind of goes hand in hand. You can't really separate it. Right? Who or what runs the blood, and when one is in silent still state, who or what is running it? Who runs the blood? Break that down a little bit more, Dominic. Who we are sharing with each other, who is running the liquids? I'm not really sure I'm following you on that one, on that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that's it. That's yeah. I don't.
Who's running the liquids? I don't know.
The libations, you know what I'm saying? Give me some of that. Give me some of that E and J, baby. I don't know where we at.
Oh, you mean like we have a part of us that's running autonomously without our conscious control over it. I think that's what you're saying.
Oh, like breathing and the heartbeat?
Yeah, I guess so. Is that what you're talking about? Like what's running the heart functions and all these types of things? I mean, it goes back to what we were saying before. There's a consciousness that runs through everything, that runs everything, and it is the source of everything.
I think that's just as a natural function from the way our bodies are created. I don't personally think it's deeper than that. Just the energetic synapses and everything that, you know, of course, the stuff that we put in our body, but the way we are created. Now it could be deeper. It could be deeper. Yeah. I'm not gonna cut that off.
I would say it like this, bro. In terms of quantum physics, like the scientist was saying, like let's say you have one cell here and you have one cell here, and in between those two cells, there's communication that's happening. And we have to also think about our total body like a cell that is connected to Earth. You're a cell on the Earth, I'm a cell on the Earth, and this is also duplicated within the body. These cells can communicate to each other. It's not like verbal talking, but they can communicate. Our bodies can communicate to other people, like body language. We say we have body language. But what is actually running these cells is like the neural uh, drive that's in between, or the neural connection, or the information that's in between. That's what's actually running and creating the behind the scenes things. So our bodies being connected to Earth. That's why they say, like, if you go outside and you walk barefooted, you're connecting to Earth and you're being grounded into the energetics of Earth, because it's those energetics that are beyond the vision that is actually running the body. The sun runs the body. We can't see this light. That's part of what's running us. There's metals and things inside of the air, or this prana, that's actually giving things life and running it. So what's really running things is this consciousness that's beyond the visible spectrum, that's controlling and running everything. And that's the part of you that exists when you go on from this plane. When you leave this body, that's the part of you that existed before. And that's the part of everything that runs everything, that put everything into motion. And this also can be talked about as a vibrational frequency. Everybody's body has its own individual vibrational frequency. And this was set into motion in the very beginning. They say, the Bible explains it like God said, let there be light. But when you think about saying something, it's a vibration that set everything off. And then it creates a ripple effect through everything that comes thereafter. Other like Buddhism, for example, they will use the term Om, O-U-O-M, or A-U-M, however you want to describe it. But that's the sound of God, because every other vibration can be emanated from that one. So if you think about that, every sound and every vibration started with that one vibration. And that is what continues to ripple through everything and keep it going. So that's what is running the behind the scenes things. And we know, like, the first organ that's created in the human body is a heart. And we just talk about vibration. If the heart is the first thing, what does your heart do? It sends out vibrations.
Yeah, and I was sitting there looking at what you was talking about as far as the boxers thing. You kind of cleared that question up when you're talking about the energy and consciousness, and how it's individual. It's an individual vibration that we all have. Just to go back on that, when you say the state, I was pondering. When boxers see stuff slowing down, that's also has a lot to do with practice and a physical ability to be able to see that. Not so much a conscious thing, because it's not like boxers go into a zone to where they are not conscious of what they're doing. Maybe fighters, a person who's fighting for the life probably does, or somebody, when they say, oh, I just saw red, I don't know what happened, they're still in control of that situation, whether they can remember it or not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's moments where they probably flash in and out of like this super consciousness state and go back into, they say you can't hold that all the time.
Yeah,
like if you imagine,
they're I believe that they're still present, because I've been in those situations as well, and I was present in those moments. I was present in those moments. Sometimes they were the stress made it feel like I had blacked out or whatever, but it wasn't really like that. It was still me being in control. I don't believe that another being jumped into my body. And
no, it's more like
I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm not saying that can't happen, but I don't think that.
it's more like, I'm gonna jump on that question here about the Bible. It's kind of like the fight or flight response, which your body is trying to get to. When your body taps into this fight or flight response, which it doesn't last very long, it's only seconds, because your body is spending so much energy that you can't be in fight or flight for a long period of time. You have to recover from it, right? So when you in a real fight or in a boxing match, there'll be moments where, because the consciousness is always there. It's the observer. That's why they say be an observer. It's always there. You'll never be fully out of the observer, because it's there all the time. But there's moments in which you might do one or two moves. You're like, man, I did that move. That was crazy. Or you kind of go in and out of it. But the consciousness is always observing the whole time. So you, like you say, you were there, you remember, no one took over your body, but there are moments within that fight that you like, man, I did something a lot faster than I thought you could, because that's what fight or flight is supposed to do. Help you to do things in a state that's faster. Now, it came to like,
it's adrenaline.
Adrenaline. Yeah, you call it adrenaline rush, because it's just a rush. It's not like adrenaline state for 30 minutes. You know, it's just like bouts of it. You can go in and out of it, but you're always observing it. Like that question about how the Bible says 1,000 years in one day, how would that connect to time? Like, imagine like you were outside and you were watching a worm crawl from one place to the other. And let's say the worm is going from point A to point B. You looking at the worm can see where it went from point A to point B, but the worm only knows that it's traveling. It can't see these 2 points, from a bird's eye view like you can. So in essence, you can watch this worm's past and future, but it's only in the present moment traveling to this space to get to wherever it is trying to go. And that's kind of how I think they say God's time is not like ours, because if you put, because it's an observer state that can see everything. So and from your perspective, you're in the moment, and from the godlike perspective, it will be observing everything happen from the past and the future, because it knows where you started from this vantage point, and it also knows where you're going, and it can see all of that happen. Although when you're in the moment, like the worm, you can't really see it all happening. You're just right there, getting to this destination where someone with a higher view, you could call it God or universe or whatever, can see everything that's in between. Like, you can see the blades of grass this worm's going to have to go through, what obstacles it may have to go around. And it's kind of like that. Go ahead.
Rod, I would like to say this, though. Once you get practice on focusing toward the future, or focusing on your goals, you can see the future.
Sure.
Because you start planning everything out, you start preparing for stuff. You're just seeing a little further and a little further and a little further, so you can prepare. Okay, I'm gonna. You have enough knowledge to move. Now, mind you, you may not be able to see exactly what's coming up in 7 years, right? But if you had already have a 7-year plan, you can see what's coming up in 5 years, especially if you stay focused on your plan. And the more practice you can see further. Now, of course, there's going to be things that pop up, like different events that come up that you're not necessarily prepared for. But when you're focused and you have the intent to get that job done, and you already have all of the planning, those events may not shake you to where you're stuck and won't be able to see past that event for the most part. So I know that's a little bit different than what we were talking about, just a little bit, as far as having the vision stop seeing the future. But that, to me, ties into also the generational curses, because when the events pop up and how a person responds to that event still changes the past. It changes the effect on how past events affect us in our present and future.
Hell yeah, bro.
And that's through wisdom.
I think you're spot on. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think what you said matches well with what I said, because that's why they say you should live without a vision, the person perishes, right? So if you have that vision of how you want your life to be mapped out, you hold on to the vision, because you don't stay in God-like state seeing every little detail all the time. But as long as you hold that vision in the top of your mind, you can keep going and making steps and planning and having faith that it's going to happen, because you see glimpses of it here and there. And that's what keeps you on track, setting those goals and doing the right steps. So I think it goes hand in hand with what we were saying, bro. I mean,
well, yeah, I think when he says cause and effect right here, I think
who's that? Dominic?
Yeah, Dominic.
Oh, okay.
It says call. Are we in cause and effect, or effect and side effects? I would think we're in both, but they don't really matter because of the fact that we have choices. So the cause and effect, and now I could be saying this a little bit off, but cause and effect deals with how we choose to view any event. Are we reacting or responding to the event? You know what I mean? Reaction is what I would say is kind of, this is a bad term, but negative. Responding is taking action, taking thoughtful action on what the event is, and not thinking about an event as necessarily bad thing or a negative thing. It's just a thing. It's something that happened. The event is something that happened. You see a car crash, boom. Okay, now what's the next thing to do? That's how it should be viewed. I mean, it can be viewed. What's the next thing to do? Or it could be a reaction. Oh my God, fucking car crash. Everybody's dead. Or, I'm fucking late. Or, damn, now what I got to do for the rest of the day because this shit happened, Or, like I said, a response. Okay, now what's the next move? I'm going to be late. Let me go ahead and tell them that this accident. It's the way we choose. It's our God gift to choose how we respond or react to every single event in our life. So that also deals with time and bending time. Frustration and bringing stress to a time event has the ability to speed it up or slow it down, make you live in it longer and suffer in it longer if that's what you want. But calculated response can speed it up and get it out your way, or slow it down, or even slow it down so you can understand everything that's going on, so you can make a better response the very next moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's up to a person and what they want to create in that moment. And it's better to see the event as neutral. It's not a good, it's not a bad. It's what the fuck just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on that further, because there's a lot of talk about manifestation, right? Let's say an event happens. If you can remain, let's say you have a vision to get to, $1 million. Let's just use it for an example. And an event happens to you, the more you can continue to view events as neutral, it allows your vibrational frequency to stay the same. Because in order to attract something in your life, it's about resonant frequency. You have to resonate with whatever that is. You have to resonate and do actions that are in alignment with whatever that is you're trying to attract. And if you continue to be pulled this way and pulled that way, it throws your personal vibration frequency off. And like Ali said, it'll keep you in that same thing longer than you need to, because your vibration got thrown off. And what you really want to attract in your life gets repelled away because you change your frequency now. So it's important in that way. And that's a form of collapsing time, because the longer you can stay locked into the right frequency, the faster the things that you want can be attracted to you. Which is a form of making time slow down. You can feel like, man, I got to live in this situation longer, but it's because your frequency and your resonance is off for what you really want. I did want to jump on this comment about Star comment said, does that mean we are all
Where?
connected at one up here like 9:45? Does that mean we are all connected
Okay.
at one point through vibration and spiritual state? Yeah, we definitely are all connected. And you know, I think about our reality oftentimes working like Super Mario Brothers. You know how when you can play the Super Mario Brothers game, and if you have the control in your hand, that's a form of being conscious and making conscious actions and decisions. But if you put the controller down, sometimes you can see Mario just kind of doing stuff, and he's just running around, going through, hitting the things, and just kind of on autopilot. That's what it's like when you're not really conscious of your awareness of you know, your connection to source. You just kind of running around doing stuff, or you can take the control yourself. But at the same time, they're both connected to the same power source. It's just some of them are conscious when you take the control, and sometimes you're not. But it's all connected to the same source, no matter what, and that can't be disconnected. So yeah, we are all connected to the same source.
Yeah, I think I will jump on that one too. I do believe we're all connected to the same source, and I think that we have been distracted by this new device and not really realizing that we are connected. You know, we all had that not moment of deja vu, but hey, I'm getting ready to call this person, and then all of a sudden you pick up the phone and they called you first. You know, that type of connection. Or you would say, man, I'm really hungry. I want something to eat. And then your significant other calls you and say, hey, I'm at the store. Do you need anything? You know, or you can feel sometimes you're in the club or you're out and about and you can feel just a little bit of tension. You're like, what's going on? Then you hit the corner and you see two people arguing. You didn't hear them. You didn't even know that they were in that next aisle, but you could feel them. So yeah, we're connected. We are connected. I don't think it's like a superpower, but I do think that people are thinking that it's a superpower because we have this thing right here, and it's trying to tell us that it's the king, it's the God. It tells us, like, when we're talking about it, we're talking like, hey man, I need to get some Nikes. So I need some new black and white Nikes. And then all of a sudden the phone comes and kicks in that answer. Like later on, you're on social media and you see a pair of black and white Nikes or whatever color you was talking about. That is a distraction that is put in front of us so that we don't realize that at this moment in time, we are connected to the source. We have the ability to create. It's taking a peg at our deepest part. It's taking that part away from us so that we are not creators, so that we are not connecting with other people. Like we think we're connecting with other people because we have this device. But before we had the device, we were already connecting to other people. You know, I'm not necessarily meaning through the physical touch. I'm talking about what Ron was talking about earlier, through the cosmos, through the ether.
No doubt.
You know,
no doubt.
We're connected that way. We're breathing the same air. This air is connected to every other molecule that's connected to it, which is connected to everything. So
no doubt, baby.
That's what I feel. Hey, we only got a couple minutes for me to be on here.
Yeah, man. All right, yeah, we get ready to wrap it up. I did want to say, because you brought up a good point. We started this video with a scientific view of retrocausation and this PhD scientist. But we know, like Ali was just saying, that ancient religious and spiritual systems told us all of this stuff, how we're connected and how it all works prior to science describing it. So all they've really done is reverse engineered how we really work, how we're really connected to each other. And they've given it a different language that makes it more difficult to understand. But the reality is, it's very simple to understand that we're all connected to the planet. We don't need these big words like retrocausation and quantum physics and all of the things that science put in our way to confuse us, like they say, let us come down and confound their language. And that language kind of separated us. But we all know that it's very simple to understand that we're connected to Earth. We're part of Earth. We have minerals running through our body. Everything is alive. It all talks. But science is just trying to redistribute something that was already ours, like everything does. Take the food, redistribute it back. Take the oil, redistribute it back. Take the spiritual science and redistribute it back to us. But the reality is, this is ancient news that we're all connected, and it's just being given back to us in a different way. But I just wanted to say that all of this science, technology, internet is just a reverse engineering of what already was.
Yes.
And we together, man. So I just want to
100%.
end on that.
Yep. So hey, just make sure you love everybody. You care about the people that you see. Realize that when you're driving and the other person is pissing you off because they're going slow, they have probably went through something else in their life that we don't understand what it is. So
That's right.
know that when you're out there, show people some grace, show people some love, and just know we don't know what their day has been.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So thank you guys for joining. For those of you who joined in, stars, comment 642, Dominic, thank you for chiming in and answering questions, keeping this thing going. We'll be back next Sunday at 9. Join in, and we'll see you guys then. We out.
I love you guys.